Okay, welcome back to members of 121 Community Church in Grapevine, Texas, and our ongoing study in The Spiritual Life by Edgar Sheffield Brightman, published in 1942. We're going to take a look at Chapter 3. We're going to take a look at Spirit as Social, pages 69 to 103. And we'll begin with Block 1 and take a look at the social self. Brightman tells us that spiritual life must be social. Every self begins with a previously held social influence. Social contact results in influential responses of approval or disapproval. And then he brings up God as social divine mind. God is love and therefore social. The love of God is infinite, eternal, and boundless. God is eternally social. And specifically, we recognize God's divine social presence as his longing for cooperative participation and value in seeking out our contribution to the communal stock of valued knowledge. We go out of ourselves through the communication of signs. These signs give our personality social form. Experience, therefore, says Brightman, is always socially significant. The divine mind becomes incarnate in the phenomena of energia, which reveals itself as axiogenetic tendencies that are signs of the ordering of experience. We're asked to cooperate in that endeavor to realize the real. Each self makes a contribution to the real as an experience of spiritual value. It includes our intentionality for spiritual value and our outgoing desire to reach others through practical positing. It leaves us with an introductory triad. The social self begins with a motivational base influenced by past relations of approval and disapproval. Divine mind is social and longs for cooperative participation in the communal knowledge of value by participation in the phenomena of divine energia, which are axiogenetic tendencies. Under our contribution to the real, it takes place through our social implementation of the logic of faith, positing value personality, and then critically internalizing the return moment. We are social, therefore let's move on to the very critical middle moment, which is going to be Aristotle's Dokounta-Threshold, which is extremely important for understanding Brightman's position. The Dokounta-Threshold: intersubjective consciousness is a matter of belief, says Brightman. It is supported by rational thought and called social knowledge. The Dokounta-Threshold of dialogue demands a distinction of persons, respect of others and their dokeo suppositions, and the desire to reach an assurance of understanding, moving beyond mere supposition, raising up those value claims to the notion of true value, moving beyond supposition. All at that Dokounta-Threshold of dialogue with others. Now, the goal of spirit through dialogue is to integrate individual consciousness into an ideal social order of value by learning from others, by including input from tradition, through communal dialogue, which reaches for a critical search for value. At that Dokounta-Threshold, we explore all spiritual possibilities. Dialogue within the community allows us to better analyze the spiritual possibilities. We posit the notion of objective spirit. The state becomes objective spirit as the bearer of the current phase of spirit. Objective spirit equals the common spiritual ends and experiences of value, or zeitgeist, the spirit of the age. It's our common cooperative endeavor toward the spiritual end of actualizing value for the kingdom. That brings us to the third moment of the sacramental universe. Brightman says we live in a sacramental universe. The given non-spiritual soil affords power to the spirit. Objective spirit equals a spiritual family of planning, the ecclesia, called out ones, become a spiritual family of planning. The spiritual should include and glorify the natural. We live in a sacramental universe where there is a raising up of the natural to doxa glory. The material given is God's gift of the natural, which includes the movement of spirit within it. Ideal truth and ideal love are manifested through the movement of spirit, as they are imprinted on the material given. We adopt a personalistic view of matter. The nation needs to take up its true spiritual aim in imprinting this given material world with the ideal of value. Now, under church and state, the state equals the living purpose of a people that makes the noble ideals real. The church is the body of Christ. The spiritual church is moving toward fuller and fuller realization of the value. Its task is to find sources of spiritual power in order to bring life to humanity. True life of the value of God's kingdom. Now, under unity of spirit, man is in search of unity, says Brightman, or Irene peace, which means the healing of fragmentation, and it must be a concrete unity. It is a unity in complexity. The highest social thought, says Brightman, is God, the concept of God, as the judgment of God that verifies every value claim and sustains that value claim in it within the dialectic of faith that we cooperatively engage in order to participate in the bringing forth of value within the mind of God, within this sacramental universe. So for Brightman, yes, we had a lesson just previously on individual personalism, but Brightman says it also includes the social aspect. Spirit is social. And it's social, and it's a cooperative social effort within a sacramental universe where the given is being raised up to doxa glory. We are trying to contribute to the real. We are trying to implement value through our logic of faith, of experimental positing, outgoing desire of value, and interpretive construction during the return moment. We have to have help at the Dokounta-Threshold, Aristotle's area of dialogue, where we go to the body of Christ, the communal body, and through dialogue we can gain better insight, better discernment, better understanding. In fact, Brightman says we achieve assurance of understanding through dialogue. We seek assurance of understanding. So we know that what we posit as true is also backed by the communal assurance of understanding. So the Dokounta-Threshold becomes critical. That's why it's in the middle moment there. The most important moment is that middle moment. We really have to emphasize the fact that for Brightman, the Dokounta-Threshold of dialogue is critical for that assurance of understanding, before we can move into our outgoing desire of value and that return moment of interpretive construction. So again, it is a lesson on the logic of faith, but it's a lesson on the logic of faith from the perspective of the social spirit. It still is an elaboration of the logic of faith, but definitely viewing it through the filter of the ecclesia called out ones, the soma body of Christ, where Christ is kephali head, where believers make up the soma body, and within that soma body we engage in Aristotle's Dokounta-Threshold of dialogue, and through that dialogue we refine our suppositions through the fiery refinery of raising suppositions to not just value claim, but true value that we can form into sign models and posit as our view of kingdom that we want to actualize. And we do that in a cooperative social effort. a cooperative social effort. No man is an island. We do proceed, says Brightman, through a spirit that is social. Personal, yes, because of the ideal love and the ideal truth in the mind of God, which is revealed in those axiogenetic tendencies that ask us to raise event to axiosoteric event, which we discussed earlier. All of that emphasizes the fact that we're definitely looking at social spirit, not just individual spirit. We form a social knowledge. We are participating in refining a social knowledge, says Brightman. So, again, we do get Hegel, of course, from Brightman, but we get a lot of Aristotle in this lesson, in that middle moment. So we get Aristotle's input here this time. Brightman kind of enjoins Aristotle and Hegel together in his position. So this time we get a good look at the contribution from Aristotle and that Dokounta-Threshold of dialogue, which is critical for understanding spirit as social. And that's going to wrap up chapter 3, which is pages 69 to 103. But if you really want to concentrate on a recall triad, you could look at block 1, note 4, with the social self beginning with that motivational base, and then entering into cooperative participation with divine mind in order to contribute to the real. Remember, the real is the realm of positing for Brightman. It is the realm of positing. The real is the realm of positing. And then we want to actualize that in that phenomena of divine energia. Remember, energia is the movement of spirit from dunamis, potentiality, to energia, actuality. Those are two critical terms in the New Testament. Dunamis is potentiality of spirit, energia is actuality of spirit. So we're participating in what Brightman says is a movement of spirit. We participate in a social movement of spirit, from dunamis to energia. That's why he calls those moments the phenomena of divine energia, the phenomena of divine actualization. And that's going to wrap this up. We'll pick up next time in chapter 4.